My people, our soil speaks louder than their promises, says Ibrahim Traoré, his voice firm as the Sahel earth. We are not begging anymore. We are building a future with our own hands.
Can you hear it? In July 2025, the dusty fields near Bobo Dioulasso, Burkina Faso, tremble under the scorching Sahel sun. It's not war, not an earthquake, it's the rumble of hope, rolling in on wheels. A convoy of red tractors gleaming like fire in the golden light roars into a small village, kicking up clouds of earth. These aren't gifts from some far-off charity or loans with hidden chains. They're earned, paid for by Burkina Faso's own sweat, vision and courage. While the world's big powers, busy in their glass towers, scroll past another headline about Africa's struggles, two underdog nations, Burkina Faso and Bangladesh, strike a deal that sends shockwaves from dusty fields to global boardrooms. This is the Cotton Rebellion, and it's not just about cotton, it's about stitching pride, dignity and freedom into every fiber. Picture the moment, a cotton field, swaying golden under the blazing sky, where leaders from two nations meet. No fancy suits, no air-conditioned halls, just calloused hands and hearts full of fire. For decades, rich countries in Europe and America ran the cotton game, buying Africa's raw materials for pennies and selling them back as pricey clothes. But this deal? It's a revolution in a handshake. Burkina Faso, a cotton giant in Africa, agrees to sell its finest fibers directly to Bangladesh, a textile powerhouse. No Western brokers, no complicated rules, just two nations saying, we're equals and we're done playing small. This isn't just trade, it's a declaration, a rebellion born in the soil, whispering, we are enough. Can you feel the power in that moment? Why didn't the world see it coming? Because the world only notices Africa when it's burning, not when it's rising. In July 2025, while Western news channels chase the next crisis, Al Jazeera reports a historic deal that shakes the global order. Burkina Faso's farmers get a steady market and better profits, while Bangladesh secures top-quality cotton for its buzzing factories. It's called a South-South partnership, two nations from the global South, often ignored or underestimated, joining hands to build their own future. This deal is more than money. It's about respect, pride, and proving that Africa and Asia can rewrite the rules together. Are you ready to dive into this story of courage and change? Grab a seat, this rebellion is just getting started. Who's the man behind this earthquake? Meet Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso's president, just 37 years old in 2025, the youngest leader on the planet. Some call him unpredictable, a firebrand who shakes the status quo. But to his people, he's unstoppable. A leader who speaks their language, not the cold jargon of foreign banks. Traoré took power in 2022 after a military coup, promising to break the chains of dependency that kept Burkina Faso begging. We're not exporting raw hope anymore, he thunders in a speech, his voice carrying over dusty villages and crowded markets like a storm. We're exporting value. Those words light a fire in hearts that have waited too long for someone to believe in them. Traoré knows the soil, like a farmer knows his field. He grew up in a land where cotton farmers toiled under the relentless sun, only to sell their harvest for pennies to Western buyers. He saw how loans and aid kept Burkina Faso on a leash, always needing more, always owing more. That's not his vision. He dreams of a nation that stands tall, using its cotton, its land, its people to build wealth and pride. The Bangladesh deal is his brainchild, a bold move to cut out the middlemen and show the world what Burkina Faso can do. Farmers get tractors, training and respect. Young people see a future at home, not in far-off cities. Traoré's not just a president, he's a spark, igniting a movement that screams, Africa is ready. Can you feel the energy in his words? Listen to the cheers. In Ouagadougou, the capital, Traoré stands before the National Assembly, his voice steady but fierce. Our hands are full, our fields are blooming, he says, as lawmakers leap to their feet, clapping until their hands ache. In villages, farmers whisper his name like a prayer, calling him the leader who listens to the soil, not the banks. In cities, young people share his speeches on cracked phone screens, their eyes bright with dreams of a nation that doesn't bow to anyone. Traoré's not chasing headlines or foreign applause. He's chasing a future where Africa sets its own price, writes its own story. Want to know what happens when a leader dares to dream this big? Let's follow the spark he's lit. Picture old Madou, a farmer in Combri village, standing in his parched field, chewing a bitter kola nut. For decades, he's worked this land, his hands rough as the earth, praying for rain that rarely comes. His back is bent, his heart heavy from years of struggle, selling cotton for prices that barely fed his family. But one morning in July 2025, the ground rumbles. A convoy of trucks rolls in, kicking up red dust that dances in the sunlight. Young workers from the Ministry of Agriculture jump out, their uniforms stitched with a new symbol, a cotton stalk wrapped in Burkina Faso's flag. "Old father," one says, his voice warm with respect, "this land is now part of the cooperative. You're not alone anymore." Madou's heart skips. Could this be real? The trucks unload treasures, shiny red tractors, solar-powered water pumps, crates of fertilizer, and drip irrigation lines with instructions in Moray and French. No foreign logos, no Western sponsors, just Burkina Faso's own strength, paid for by its people. Madou's eyes fill with tears, not from pain, but from disbelief. This isn't aid, it's not charity, it's independence, rolling in with wheels and purpose. The cooperative, named Cotton Rebellion Unit No. 3, feels like a promise kept. For Madou, it's more than tools, it's the land waking up, whispering, "We can do this ourselves." Can you imagine what it feels like to see your life's work finally valued after decades of being told it's not enough? That night, Combre's villagers gather under a mango tree, the air thick with the scent of tea and hope. Awase, Madou's granddaughter, tugs at his sleeve, her eyes wide with questions. "Grandfather, why now? Why are they helping us now?" Madou smiles, his voice steady as the earth beneath him. "Because we have a leader who knows the soil speaks louder than debt." A radio crackles nearby, carrying Traoré's voice from Ouagadougou. "Farmers shall trade with dignity or not at all." The words ripple through the crowd, lighting up faces young and old. From the Sahel's dry plains to the green south, Burkina Faso feels it, a spark of pride, a sense that they're part of something unstoppable. Want to know how this spark crosses oceans? Let's travel to Bangladesh. Now let's soar thousands of miles to a textile factory on the outskirts of Dhaka, Bangladesh. The air hums with the rhythm of machines, spinning cotton into thread like a heartbeat. Layla, a young weaver, pauses, her fingers still dancing over the loom. "Did you hear?" she whispers to her friend Ayesha. "The cotton's coming straight from Burkina Faso now." Her supervisor nods, checking a tablet that shows a shipment from Ouagadougou to Chattogram, Bangladesh's port city. No European brokers, no complicated contracts, just bales of Burkinabe cotton packed with pride. The workers feel it too, a connection to a faraway land, a shared dream of standing tall. Can you feel the energy in that factory buzzing with possibility? Inside Bangladesh's Ministry of Commerce, Trade Minister Jamil Rahman stands before a map, a red line linking Dhaka to Ouagadougou. "This isn't just cotton," he says, his voice low but electric. "This is strategy." Traoré sent a team of young experts, farmers, scientists and engineers fluent in English and Bengali to Dhaka. They're not just selling cotton, they're building a partnership. They share ideas on irrigation and pest control, while Bangladesh teaches Burkina Faso about textile production and climate-smart crops. The room buzzes with excitement, as if the deal has woven these two nations into one fabric. Have you ever seen a plan this bold come to life, stitching dreams across continents? Back in the factory, Layla and her co-workers talk as they work. "This cotton feels different," she says, her eyes bright with wonder. "It's like we're part of something bigger." The cotton carries a story of farmers in Africa who refuse to be undervalued, of a nation claiming its worth. Labels on the finished cloth read, "Cotton of Freedom, woven with honor." These aren't just words, they're a promise, a vow that Bangladesh and Burkina Faso are more than cheap labor. They're partners, innovators, creators of a new future. The whispers in the factory grow louder, spreading hope that this deal is just the start. Want to see how this partnership transforms lives? Let's dive deeper. This deal is more than cotton, it's a bridge between two worlds. Burkina Faso and Bangladesh agree to share more than goods, they share knowledge, dreams and strength. Farmers in Burkina Faso learn better ways to water crops and fight pests without chemicals, thanks to Bangladesh's expertise. Bangladesh learns from Burkina Faso how to grow cotton that thrives in tough conditions. They set up student exchanges, sending young people to study in each other's schools. They plan disaster relief programs, sharing ideas for surviving floods or droughts. There's even talk of military training for UN peacekeeping missions. This isn't a one-sided deal. It's two nations standing as equals, building a future together. Can you feel the power of that unity? In Burkina Faso, the deal brings real change. Farmers like Madhu earn more, selling directly to Bangladesh without middlemen taking a cut. Young entrepreneurs open cotton processing stations, using apps built by local coders to track prices and sales. Clothes made from Burkinabe cotton carry proud labels, shouting their origin to the world. In Bangladesh, factories launch Free Thread, a fashion line woven from African cotton and Asian skill. It sells out in Europe in just 72 hours, proving the global south can compete on its own terms. This partnership isn't just trade, it's a dream stitched into reality, thread by thread, bale by bale. The world is watching, even if it doesn't know it yet. Other nations, Mali, Benin, even India and Egypt start asking, can we join? The deal shows the global south doesn't need Western approval to succeed. They can set their own prices, make their own rules, build their own markets. It's a spark that could light up a continent, maybe the world. Farmers in Burkina Faso and workers in Bangladesh aren't just trading goods, they're trading hope, proving two nations can change the game together. Across Africa and Asia, people start dreaming bigger, asking, if they can do this, what's next? Ready to see how this changes lives on the ground? Let's keep going. In Burkina Faso's northern Yatenga province, life used to stop when the rains came. Dirt roads turned to sludge, trapping farmers with their cotton, mothers with sick children, and ambulances that never arrived. Villagers had a saying, when the roads vanish, so do our hopes. But in 2025, hope comes roaring in. Construction crews, local workers trained under Traoré's national program, arrive, paving 1,500 kilometers of roads with Burkina Faso's own money, not World Bank loans. These roads connect villages to markets, clinics and dreams, breathing life into places forgotten too long. Can you see the change those roads bring, stretching like veins across the land? At a roadside stop, Fatimata, a young woman in grease-stained overalls, fixes a solar-powered machine. She used to work in a sweatshop in Morocco, earning pennies and sending them home to her family. Now she repairs the machines building her nation's future. I used to dream of leaving, she says, wiping her hands, her voice steady as the asphalt beneath her. Now I'm building Burkina Faso. Her pride is quiet but unshakable, like the roads she helps create. These aren't just paths, they're lifelines, carrying crops, people, and possibilities to places that have waited too long for change. The roads change everything. Farmers get their cotton to market without losing half their crop to mud. Mothers reach clinics to save their children. Ambulances speed through, saving lives instead of sinking in sludge. Traoré's government uses solar-powered machines, proving Burkina Faso can innovate without foreign help. In Yatenga's villages, people start believing in a future where they're not just surviving but thriving. The roads are more than asphalt. They're proof that change starts with the ground beneath your feet, built by hands that know the land. Want to know what else is growing in Burkina Faso? Let's move to the next chapter. Near Bulsa's rolling savannas, a new kind of school opens in 2025, not with desks but with dirt, sun and possibility. The National Agronomy Civic Academy isn't for elites, it's for farmers' sons, market women's daughters and graduates told their future isn't in the soil. Over 2,000 young people join in 3 months, arriving on bikes, pickups or dusty feet. They wear uniforms with a green hand rising from red earth, a symbol of pride in farming. Here they're not just workers, they're nation builders, learning to grow a future. Can you imagine a school where the classroom is a field and the lesson is a country's rebirth? Classes happen under mango trees, beside irrigation trenches, or in seed vaults. Students learn practical skills, drip irrigation, natural pest control with neem ash, cooperative management, no foreign textbooks or IMF reports, just harvest cycles and financial know-how. At night, they gather around fires, reciting an oath, I am the guardian of this land. Its hunger is my fight, its dignity my mission. For many, it's the first time they feel their work matters, that farming is a way to build a nation, not just survive. The academy isn't just teaching skills, it's teaching young people to see themselves as heroes of their own story. Can you feel the pride in that oath? Isaka, a young man who once dreamed of moving to France, now leads a cooperative growing drought-resistant rice in the Central Plateau. Traoré gave us tools, he says, his voice firm as he stands in his field. But more than that, he gave us a reason to stay. The academy is changing minds, not just fields. Students aren't just workers, they're stewards of a revolution, planting seeds for a new Burkina Faso. Across the country, these young people spread a new idea. The future isn't in faraway cities, but in the soil they call home. Want to see how this revolution grows beyond the fields? Let's follow the thread. It starts with one shipment. 40 containers of organic cotton sailing from Burkina Faso's dry heartlands to Chattogram, Bangladesh. Inside the first container, a handwritten note from the farmers reads, "We plant not just for profit, but for memory. This cotton carries our grandparents' dignity." In Bangladesh, factories turn this cotton into a fashion label called Free Thread, woven by African farmers and Asian hands. It sells out in Europe in just 72 hours, proving the global south can create something the world can't ignore. Can you feel the weight of that cotton, carrying pride across oceans, stitching a new story? Traoré pushes the vision further, launching a continental cotton cooperative with Mali, Benin and Chad. They use blockchain to track every bale, ensuring it's pesticide-free and fairly made. Africa will no longer export what it cannot price, he declares, his voice echoing across the Sahel. We will set the market, not obey it. Farmers gain control, setting their own prices. In Bangladesh, Free Thread becomes a badge of honor for workers like Laila, who see their labor as part of a global shift. In Europe, consumers snap up clothes labeled Made in Burkina Faso, drawn to a story of fairness. The cotton isn't just cloth, it's liberation, woven into every fiber. The impact ripples outward. Global fashion houses notice, not out of charity but necessity. Ethical sourcing is now a must. In Burkina Faso, schoolgirls wear uniforms from local cotton, their smiles as bright as the fabric. Farmers check prices on government-issued tablets, their faces lit with pride. Tailors sew Made in Burkina Faso onto every garment, a quiet rebellion in every stitch. Across the global south, people start asking, if they can do it with cotton, what else can we reclaim? The answer is everything. Food, technology, dignity. This cotton is more than fabric. It's a new map of values, drawn by hands that refuse to be small. Ready to see how the world reacts to this rebellion? Let's keep moving. The cotton rebellion shakes the world's trade systems like a storm. For decades, African cotton funneled through Western brokers who paid low and profited high, keeping Africa on its knees. But when Burkina Faso and Bangladesh trade directly, the markets tremble. In Geneva, trade officials scramble into emergency meetings, muttering about disruption. In Washington, lobbyists rewrite their playbooks, their pens scratching nervously. The International Cotton Council sends an urgent warning about disruptive practices in West Africa. Traoré just smiles, his eyes sharp as he calls it destiny. Can you feel the power of a deal that forces the world to rethink its rules, bending the arc of history? Other nations take notice, their voices quiet but urgent. Leaders from India, Turkey and Egypt send messages. Can we join? In Nairobi, a minister leans over a table, asking, if Burkina Faso can trade directly, why can't we? The deal sparks a movement, questioning why the global south must follow the West script. It shows nations can set their own terms, build their own markets, shape their own future. In Burkina Faso, farmers see their incomes rise, their lives transformed. Coders build apps to track cotton prices. In Bangladesh, factories hum with new purpose, weaving cloth that tells a story of pride. The rebellion is spreading, one bale at a time. The markets aren't the only thing shaking. In Burkina Faso, young entrepreneurs open ginning stations, powered by local tech and local dreams. Tailors sew labels that shout Made in Burkina Faso to the world, each stitch a defiance of the old order. In Bangladesh, workers like Laila feel part of a bigger story, a partnership that gives them dignity. Global trade, built on centuries of imbalance, pauses to take notice. The cotton rebellion isn't just changing commerce, it's changing how the world sees Africa and Asia, forcing power to shift from boardrooms to fields. Want to know how this movement becomes a legend? Let's dive deeper. One image burns itself into the world's memory. Traoré standing with Bangladeshi women weavers, their embroidered scarves bright as jewels against a container ship loaded with cotton. Overhead, flags of Burkina Faso and Bangladesh wave together, a symbol of unity that needs no words. It's not staged, it's real, a moment of equity in motion, captured in the golden light of Chattogram's port. The African Union sends an envoy to Ouagadougou, offering Burkina Faso a leading role in the Cotton Alliance. Brazil's Cotton Board calls it a model for fair trade. The image goes viral, shared from Dakar to Dhaka, a beacon that something unstoppable is happening. Can you see the power in that moment where two nations stand as equals? Traoré doesn't chase fame or foreign applause. In a televised speech from a spinning mill, he holds up a swatch of cloth, his voice steady but fierce. This is not mere cloth, he says, his words cutting through the air. This is how we unweave the colonial lie. His words become a mantra, painted on walls from Bamako to Brazzaville, chanted by farmers and students alike. Traoré isn't just a president, he's an icon, chosen not by the West but by his people and by history itself. His message rings clear. Africa's future isn't in borrowing power but in creating it, multiplying it, sharing it. Can you hear the echo of his words, calling a continent to rise? The Cotton Rebellion becomes more than a deal. It's a movement, a tidal wave. In Burkina Faso, schoolgirls wear uniforms made from local cotton, their laughter as bright as the fabric. Farmers check prices on tablets, their faces lit with pride, not shame. In Bangladesh, workers like Laila see their labor as part of a global shift, a story of dignity. The world wasn't ready for this rebellion, but that's why it works. Traoré's leadership shows that history isn't made in boardrooms, it's forged in fields, factories, and the hearts of people who refuse the old rules. This is the story of a new Africa, a new Asia, a new world, ready to see how it ends. Let's go to the final chapter. The Cotton Rebellion isn't just about Burkina Faso or Bangladesh. It's a new story for the global South, a story of fire and hope. For too long, these nations were seen as suppliers. Their cotton, labor, and dreams used to build wealth for others. But this deal changes everything. It shows two underdog countries standing shoulder to shoulder, not as victims but as architects of a new trade era. They don't need Western permission or loans. They need each other, and that's enough. From Ouagadougou's dusty fields to Dhaka's humming factories, people are waking up, asking, if we can do this with cotton, what else can we do? The answer is everything. Food, tech, pride, freedom. Across Africa, the rebellion spreads like wildfire. In Mali, farmers start cooperatives, inspired by Burkina Faso's courage. In Benin, young coders build apps to track crop prices, their fingers flying over keyboards. In Bangladesh, textile workers like Laila dream of new fashion lines woven with fairness and pride. The deal sparks conversations in markets, villages and government halls from Dakar to Dar es Salaam. It's a spark that could light up a continent, maybe the world. People start to see their resources, their skills, their dreams as tools for change, not just survival. This is a revolution you can feel in your bones, taste in the air, wear on your skin. This isn't just about economics, it's about dignity, about rewriting the rules, about two nations proving geography isn't destiny. The next time you put on a shirt, ask yourself, who grew this? Who wove it? Who set the price? The answer might just be Burkina Faso, woven with the pride of a people who refuse to stay small. The Cotton Rebellion is here, and it's only the beginning. Share this story, let the world know the thread is loose, and a new cloth is being sewn, one of freedom, unity, and unstoppable change. Are you in? Join the rebellion, because history is being woven right now, and you're part of it.